Hi, it's Jeremiah Demery, and in this video, we're going to cover how to deliver laser-targeted, hyper-relevant content to GoToWebinar attendees using Mailshake and get sales in the process. So in this video, you're going to learn a simple technique that generated hundreds of attendees to our webinar using an easy hack with Mailshake and made thousands of dollars in sales in the process. Now, just a quick disclaimer, I love Mailshake, but I'm not a paid endorser. So I'm doing this to really help out the Mailshake community to use the system a little more aggressively than maybe you have been in the past, simply because I love their system and what they do. I've been an early user, and Sujan and Colin and I connected not too long ago, and they asked me if I'd be willing to share some of my strategies on how I use Mailshake to increase sales, and I'm so happy to do it and grateful for the opportunity. Just so you know, this is the only kind of slide about me, but if you're going to stick around to the end, you should know why I'm an authority on this area. I specialize in generating leads for business-to-business sales teams. I do that with a combination of LinkedIn, cold emails, and data, and have been doing so for 15 years. I consult privately and I create training programs for different industries to teach them how to do that. And my systems have generated over 2 million leads, leading to over $300 million in sales generated. And a side note about me, so I do speaking and so forth, but my real passion is giving back to the community. And I need a lot of time to do that because I do it on my own time. So whenever I look for a hack or a technique, I got to make sure that it works and I can leverage it, which is why I'm sharing it with you today. So here's what I've learned. I've learned that, and maybe you've noticed this if you've ever been on a webinar, the problem with most webinars today from an audience perspective is the audience wants relevant, highly targeted, and actionable tips they can use, right? When you go to a webinar, don't you want to have the best content possible? You don't want to hear people talk about ivory tower theories and just pontificate. You want stuff you can use. And webinars are typically a large investment of time, sometimes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. I've been on webinars that have been 3 hours. So prospects want to be sure they're really getting what's worth the investment of their time. And many individuals will just say, today there's a trend, well, I'll just listen to the recording later. So if you're hosting a webinar, you've got all these challenges to deal with. But if you're a host, these are the challenges that you're facing, right? Your show-up ratios are declining. People in the industry are reporting that less than 50% of folks are showing up to their webinars. So many people are opting for recordings. And the problem with recordings is that you lose sales momentum with a recording because many times people just won't listen to the recording, and you'll lose the opportunity to convert instant sales or instant leads. And it's becoming more and more of a challenge to deliver content that will impress your audience and create sales opportunities. And hence the drive or the desire of what I teach is to build a relationship with somebody before the webinar. So here's how you do it. This is a little technique that you can use a combination of GoToWebinar and Mailshake to handle. Step number one is you download your webinar attendee list from GoToWebinar. And then step two, you're going to format it for Mailshake. And I'll show you how to do this over my shoulder. We'll actually jump into my accounts and you'll watch as I do it. And then I upload them to Mailshake. And then I set up a survey using a free tool like Typeform, Google Forms, or perhaps you might be using something like SurveyMonkey. All of them work fine. And then step number 5 is to set up your outbound email message. So that's really it. 5 simple steps in order to do so. Before I show you the walkthrough video, I want to tell you why these pre-webinar surveys from the host and not embedded into GoToWebinar work so well. First, it builds a personalized connection between you, the host, and the audience. And I found that it breaks the guru barrier, right? Whenever you attend a webinar with an expert or a guru, many times there's this feeling that they're too unreachable, or maybe that they, are not easily accessible. But that intimate email that goes out and goes into one of the most intimate places in their digital life, which is their inbox, helps to build a little bit of that connection. And the fact that the Mailshake system does not have that standard signature line at the bottom really makes it look like it's a personalized email. So I love breaking the guru barrier because I've learned in our sales process that it actually increases the chances of sales on our webinars. It also opens up early sales opportunities because a small percentage of the people who are attending your training or your class or your webinar are going to already be in the investigative mode and looking for a solution to buy. So if they know that they've got an open communication channel with you, which is very personal via email, it's not something they have to tweet about or post publicly because some people feel embarrassed, this is a great opportunity to build that personal one-to-one communication. And also, it disqualifies people that shouldn't be on. Because when I open up my webinar, I tell them exactly who this is for and also who it's not for. And what this does is it shows respect for the audience, but also respect for your time. Although you might have a few people that drop off at the beginning, the people that will remain on that call, you will find out are very highly qualified. So let's jump over to my account right now, and I'll show you how to set this up. All right, as you can see, I have my Gotowebinar account opened, and I'm going to go over here to Generate Reports. Now, for the purpose of this illustration, I'm going to use a registration report for a webinar that already happened, but I just want to use it to show you the data because the data looks exactly the same. So it's now showing me all the webinars that I conducted, and I'm going to choose one of them. And I'm going to grab the Excel file and generate the report. Just open it up here. Now, as you notice, when you download the registration report, there's all this extra data that Mailshake can't use. So what you want to do is go ahead and just delete the first 13 columns. And then all you want is the first name. You can leave the last name in and the email address. So all this other data, you just want to go ahead and delete. And I'll delete that last column. Okay, great. So now I got 3 nice clean columns I can use to survey for Mailshake. So what I'm going to do is I want to save this in a format that Mailshake will accept. So in order to do that, you have to save it as a CSV file. So I'm working on a PC, so I'll go ahead and save this as a CSV, delimited format, and I'll call it Webinar List for Mailshake. I will save that, hit yes, and I'm good to go. Sometimes it asks you to double save it when you go to close the file, so that's fine. Okay, great. So we've got our webinar report. What I'm going to do next is go into Mailshake and set up a campaign. Now, before I set up the campaign, I just want to show you the actual part 1 of the survey that went out. You'll notice here that I was being hosted by somebody, so I named the campaign inside Mailshake. And then here's kind of the data you can see here. So here's my data that you can see. I sent out 197 messages. I got a 47% open rate. I think the standard in the industry is 21%, so I thought I did pretty good, but that's actually kind of low for me. I was hoping for 60 or 70 plus, but considering that these people never met me before, when my name shows up in their inbox, they don't even know who I am. There's no prior relationship. I think that's pretty great for a cold email. I got 3 replies, and I wasn't looking for replies, but those were great because they opened up sales opportunities. Because I initiated the email conversation, it was the catalyst to a sales conversation, which ended up getting closed actually. And then 33 people, or 17%, actually clicked through to my survey. Now, that number may look kind of small, but when you consider today that if you have your own private list, the average is about a 4% click-through, and I'm getting 400% higher click-throughs than people who own their own list. And that just goes to the power of Mailshake being able to send off the Gmail chassis, which really helps people to get their messages directly into the inbox without having, all those different functionalities inside a typical email sent out from a third-party email service provider. And then, of course, I had 5 bounces. So all in all, I think we did pretty good. I was very pleased with this campaign. All right, so this was the actual campaign results. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can do this for yourself. So obviously, as we're in our dashboard, I'll go ahead and create a new campaign. And I'll just name this Webinar Pre-Survey. I'll hit Next. And this is where I'm going to go ahead and find the CSV file that we just cleaned up, which has all of our GoToWebinar attendees inside. Okay, so here we have the Mailshake feature where it's asking me to map. As you notice that the email was properly labeled, so pretty simple, and all I want is the first name, and I'm going to hit Next. One thing I've noticed with Mailshake, when you're naming your list, remove the .csv. So typically when you save a CSV file, it will always have this in there. I've deleted that, and it shouldn't have a problem to import. Now we'll just let Mailshake do its thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is show you the actual template that I used. And I used a little bit of psychology in the template in order to get a high open rate, something strange. So give me a second here and I'm going to open it up for you. Okay, so you can see here I've brought up the template that I used, and the subject line I used is actually also interesting. It was called Kermit the Frog and a Strange Question about tomorrow's class. Now, the reason I did that is whenever you create subject lines, you want the subject line to be intriguing and have a high open rate because that's like the headline for your email. And 2 words I've used, the word strange is a really good word to use. And notice how I kept everything lowercase. That's another psychological trigger because it looks like it was written by a human and not a marketing person. And then I use Kermit the Frog, which at least in Western culture is somebody that is very well known, has a positive association, and it kind of jumps out at you, right? Because very rarely will you see a subject line that has Kermit the Frog in it. So I use those 3 triggers in order to get the high open rate. And then the email is, hi, thanks for signing up for my class with, and then this was the person who was hosting me, Daniel Levis tomorrow. I'm tweaking my slides tonight because I sent this out the day before. So that I can customize the class to you personally, can you do me a quick favor and fill out this quick survey that actually has Kermit the Frog in it? It's mobile friendly, so you can do it on your phone right now. And then I just put the link. And I've noticed that I get a higher click-through rate when I tell people that a link is mobile friendly, because more than half of people read their emails on their phones. So if they know that that link is mobile friendly, they're less likely to put it off till later. Then I say, can't wait to share with you what's working now to land big ticket clients that pay $5,000 plus per engagement with appreciation, my name, and then just my signature line. So that's basically what I did. And for the link, I used a free tool called Typeform, which allows you to create very beautiful surveys. So we're going to go ahead and grab this, and I'll just pop it in here. Then you want to customize this unique field. So I'm going to insert the first name. And then I'm going to insert the subject line. Okay, and that's pretty much it. That's all I did. If I wanted to follow up to people who did not fill it out, I could have easily add another drip and send it, perhaps the day after or 2 days after. But because I was doing something that was the next day, I didn't see a need for a drip. So I went ahead and I just didn't need to use that drip. Okay, so then I go to next. And I just love this feature about Mailshake. Allows you to preview and personalize each one. This is really great if you're going to be talking to people you know and you want to customize a few things. But in this case, I didn't know these people, so there was no personalization that was needed, but I was happy to see that the names were properly populating, and I could have gone through each one of them and double checked, but I really didn't need to. And then I always like to track my opens and link clicks to see how my optimization game is performing. I'll obey pertinent laws, go next. And then as the campaign is syncing, I always look forward to knowing that this is all going to be handled, and the fact that Mailshake uses the Gmail chassis is excellent because it allows a lot of emails to get through instead of dealing with the usual bounces that come with domain-based emails and so forth. So as you can see, everything's ready to go, and I just hit send campaign. All right, so here's what you learned today. You learned how to use a simple survey for your webinar attendees so you can deliver great content. And you also learned how to use the registration list from Gotowebinar and upload it to Mailshake so you can get direct feedback and create incredibly engaging presentations that lead to high sales. And you've learned how to use the survey results to customize your content so it's hyper relevant and high converting. So that was it. Thanks for checking out this video. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know your thoughts, or if you have any questions about this strategy or anything else you think I might be able to help you with. I'll be happy to receive your comments and connections on LinkedIn. I am an open networker. And of course, a big thank you to the great folks at Mailshake who give all of us marketers out there just an extra edge to be more competitive. Thanks, everyone.